phones, messaging phones. Everybody wants a messaging phone these days. We've got two popular low-end messaging phones, both made by Samsung. Both look pretty similar, but they actually have different functionality and they perform quite differently on two different networks as well. What's up? I'm Noah from PhoneDog.com. It's a phone dog dogfight between the Samsung Gravity for T-Mobile and the Samsung Rant for Sprint. Now, like we said, they look pretty similar. Candy bar phones with horizontal sliders, full QWERTY keyboards. On the front, you've got, your smaller screen and then your D-pad and your dialing pad. On the back, I mean, these things look very similar, right? But they actually perform differently enough that you're going to want to watch the rest of the video to see what the deal is. So here we go. It's a dogfight between the Gravity and the Rant. Alright, so it's the T-Mobile Gravity on the left here in gray, and the Sprint Rant with the black with the blue trim. They're both Samsung phones. They both, very similar in terms of the look and feel, as we said. On the front, you've got similar sized screens. You've got your D-pad with, basically the same button layout. A little bit different on the Rant. Some of the shortcut buttons are kind of flush mounted, and the D-pad is square. On the Gravity, the D-pad's round. All the buttons are, bubbled up, but not really all that different. And then you've got your full QWERTY boards that slide out. Little bit different on the QWERTY boards. The Gravity up here on top has slightly larger keys. You can get a little bit of a close-up there. The Rant has, the smaller keys that are kind of angled out a little bit. They both have the double-wide space bar, which is always nice. On the Rant, you've got your soft keys up here by the screen. On the Gravity, your soft keys are flanked out here at the left and right edges of the QWERTY board. But, very similar, again, in terms of look and feel and everything. And then on the back of the phones here, you've got your cameras on the back as well. The thing is, when you actually pick the phones up, the Rant is heavier and it just feels a little more solid. It's not by any means a heavy phone, and they're the same size, so it doesn't feel any bulkier. But the phone just kind of feels more solid, and that actually plays into what happened when we tested the phones for voice calling. The Gravity, now we tested these out here in the San Francisco, California Bay Area, where generally speaking, when I test phones out, I'm able to get good service from both T-Mobile and Sprint. So I don't think it was a network issue. But what happened, I think because of the construction of the Gravity, because it's lightweight plastic, kind of hollow, and perhaps because of the components they used, voice calls on the Gravity were almost unbearable. There was just this annoying kind of vibrating, buzzing sound all the time. Again, it sounded kind of more like the phone itself vibrating from the actual sound coming out than like any kind of interference on the network. The Rant in general had solid call quality. Not the absolute best I've ever tried, but definitely between good and very good. So definitely an edge in terms of just using it as a phone to the Rant. And again, I get into what the phones can actually do. The Rant is, even though they look very similar, the Rant actually has much more functionality than the Gravity. The Gravity, is a messaging phone. It's got My Faves on it. It can do, your text messaging, MMS messaging, basic email, and basic T-Zones web access. Whereas the Rant is one of Sprint's new, it's actually a little bit more of a mid-range or even towards a higher-end feature phone, whereas Gravity is an entry-level phone. So the Rant can do a lot more. The Rant has the new Sprint one-click user interface on here, similar to what you'll see on the Lotus or the High Note. You can customize the interface. It's got GPS with Sprint navigation. It's got your Google shortcut menu bar, so you can get to YouTube and your other stuff. We'll go to the internet here. It's also got Sprint TV and Sprint music access compatibility as well. It's a 3G phone. The Gravity is not. The Gravity is an edge-only phone on T-Mobile. So, neither one of them is a full-on smartphone. Neither one's going to give you, because of the small screen, the full-on web experience that you'd see on a higher-end phone like the G1 on T-Mobile, or like the HTC Touch Pro, or Samsung Instinct on Sprint. But you'll get a little bit more in terms of functionality and web functionality on the Rant than the T-Mobile, and of course faster data speeds because of the 3G. You can see both phones auto-rotate when you open the keyboard up, and the web browser, again, it's kind of similar. It's more of a mobile browser, a WAP browser, than a full-on HTML browser. So you'll get similar functionality off the web on both devices. We'll go back, we'll take a look at the messaging interface here. All right, so if we look at the email setup, both phones have, a little email setup wizard, which is pretty easy to use, and they both support a variety of accounts. So the T-Mobile setup, it's got AOL, AIM, and Yahoo on the front. You go to more accounts. You have a whole bunch of other options, including Gmail, including Verizon email even, and other address. You can just type in your other address, if you have a POP server and you have the address as well. So that's kind of nice. But the Rant actually goes one further, and it has this option called Work. It supports Sprint's work email service, which actually means that you can set up an Exchange server, Outlook web access, that kind of thing. So you can access corporate email on the Rant, which is kind of nice. It gives it, kind of like a limited smartphone capability there, access to the corporate email system. Kind of nice feature for a messaging phone. Additionally, they both support the picture messaging as well. The Rant has a slightly nicer camera, 2 megapixels versus 1.3. Neither is, they're both cell phone cameras. Neither one's anything to write home about necessarily. They're both perfectly fine for messaging. And that sort of thing. But the Rant, just kind of ups the ante. It kind of just ups the ante across the board. Like we said, it's got Sprint TV access, it's got access to the Sprint Music Store, it's got a GPS chip built in, whereas the Gravity doesn't. They both have media players, they both feature stereo Bluetooth, they both have micro SD card slot for memory expansion. The Rant, I believe, is tucked in behind the battery cover. Let's see if we can find that there. Yep. So there it is, tucked in behind the battery cover. The Rant has a 2.5mm headphone jack on the side, so if you want to use wired headphones, you'll need, cell phone standard headphones you can use. If you want to use your own headphones, like iPod headphones or whatever, you'll need an adapter. The Gravity has the Samsung proprietary connector, which is used for both charging and accessories, so you can get headphones or a 3.5mm headphone adapter to use with that. The Rant also, to point out, uses a USB-based charger. And, just in general, on the surface, again, they're fairly similar. The screens, a little bit nicer screen on the Rant, not that big of a deal. But two key things. One is the voice calling quality. Just my experience anyway, just far better on the Rant. The Gravity just became impossible to use because of the vibration buzzing that we talked about. And then, just feature-wise, they both are great basic messaging phones. The Rant ups the ante if you want to get access to all the broadband streaming video and Sprint TV, all that kind of stuff. Price-wise, right now, from the carriers, I'm doing this video in mid-July of 2009. The Gravity is going free on contract from T-Mobile. The Rant is $50 after rebate on contract. You might be able to find cheaper prices, less than free, money back on the Gravity, or free or even cheaper for the Rant. If you look around on PhoneDog, we've got some phone finders, rate finders that can help you out with that. But basically, I would say the winner of this dogfight is definitely the Rant, and it wins mainly because of the voice quality, because of the issues I had with the Gravity, but it also wins just across the board in terms of extra features and that kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe I got a lemon. If you've definitely try before you buy, make some calls on the Gravity, and if the voice quality doesn't bother you, they're both solid messaging phones, or if you don't talk on the phone, and a lot of people don't anymore, they just text and IM. They're both solid, entry-level phones for messaging, but definitely the Rant is the winner in this dogfight. There you go. It's the Samsung Rant from Sprint, the Samsung Gravity from T-Mobile. I'm Noah from PhoneDog behind the camera, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.